We have a really big update on The Last of Us Part 3 from Naughty Dog's direction after the cancellation of the multiplayer, what's going on with the script of The Last of Us Part 3 according to the actors, a no return mode for Last of Us Part 3, and we're also going to be talking about the new IP over at Naughty Dog and how that's going to affect The Last of Us Part 3. So let's get started with Naughty Dog's cancellation of Last of Us Factions, the multiplayer mode, which was going to be a standalone game. The statement reads, "We realize many of you have been anticipating news around the project that we've been calling The Last of Us Online. There's no easy way to say this. We've made the incredibly difficult decision to stop development on that game. We know this news will be tough for many, especially our dedicated Last of Us Factions community who have been following our multiplayer ambitions ardently. We're equally crushed at the studio as we were looking forward to putting it in your hands. We wanted to share with you some background of how we came to the decision. The multiplayer team has been in pre-production with the game since we were working on The Last of Us Part 2, crafting an experience we felt was unique and had tremendous potential. As the multiplayer team iterated on their concept for The Last of Us Online during this time, their vision crystallized. The gameplay got more refined and satisfying, and we were enthusiastic about the direction in which we were headed. In ramping up to full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we'd have to put all our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come, severely impacting development on future single-player games. So we had two paths in front of us: become a solely live service game studio, or continue to focus on single-player narrative games that have defined Naughty Dog's heritage. We are immensely proud of everyone at the studio that touched this project. The learnings and investments in technology from this game will carry into how we develop our projects and will be invaluable in the direction we are headed as a studio. We have more than one ambitious brand new single-player game that we're working on here at Naughty Dog, and we cannot wait to share more about what comes next when we're ready. Until then, we're incredibly thankful to our community for your support throughout the years." So for a lot of these Sony single player studios that had ambitions to make a multiplayer game, I think this is our best inside scoop on how unsustainable a multiplayer game is, especially for a single player studio. It would impact all single player games in the future according to Naughty Dog, and they would have to have like 90% of the developers working on the online game constantly. Also, according to the Insomniac Games leak, there was a concept for the Great Web, which was going to be a Spider-Man 2 online mode or a separate game, and that also got axed, and this is probably the reason why. It would have affected all Insomniac future games like the upcoming Spider-Man game, Venom game, Wolverine game, X-Men game, and a majority of their resources would have had to be put into the Spider-Man 2 online mode. So I'm very glad that they came to this decision. Even though I was excited for the online mode, I really want more single player games from Naughty Dog. Also from this statement, we also got it reinstated within us that yes, Naughty Dog is working on two single player narrative driven games, and we know one of them will be The Last of Us Part 3. Also last year at the Summer Game Fest, Neil Druckman did say he was going to let us know more about the new project this year in 2023, but unfortunately that never happened, and that was likely due to The Last of Us Factions. The Last of Us Online game took so many resources away from Naughty Dog. They've been working on this game since The Last of Us Part 2. There were reports that this was actually supposed to be an add-on mode to The Last of Us Part 2 that we were going to be getting post-launch. Then it became a standalone game, and now it's been cancelled. But it seems like a majority of the Naughty Dog studio was working on The Last of Us Online, and projects like the new IP and The Last of Us Part 3 had to take a backseat for a long time. Undoubtedly, we would have been so far along with The Last of Us Part 3 by now, but not everything is going to waste from this Last of Us Online game. They said that they constantly tried to refine and make the gameplay more satisfying, and I already thought that The Last of Us Part 2's gameplay was absolutely phenomenal. So hopefully they use that as the base, and then they kept refining over that, and that will definitely make its way to The Last of Us Part 3. We also got this leaked menu footage of The Last of Us Online's menu, and it looks like the player character would have been sitting in that Last of Us Part 1 style menu, but here it looks very bare bones and they haven't added the effects. But you can see the options for the games up above with the lobby, the store, the battle pass, which of course would have made this a very heavy live service game, and they would have had to constantly update the battle pass every season, and there would have just had to be tons of support for The Last of Us Online. Naughty Dog do end the statement with saying that they cannot wait to share more of what comes next, and I think that they definitely have to share more very soon. I would hope that they have more information on what comes next in 2024, as they have to kind of let the world know what they are going to be working on in an official capacity after the massive cancellation of what was to be a massively anticipated multiplayer game. So perhaps for a PlayStation 2024 showcase, we would get a teaser title of what the new IP is going to be, or The Last of Us Part 3 with a release year, just to let the public know that this is what Naughty Dog is committed to next. Let me know in the comment section below what you think this new IP could be. Could it be a sci-fi game? Could it be a fantasy game? I would really like Naughty Dog to develop a medieval game where we have swords and we can behead people, and it's very realistic and grounded. And also Rockstar Games is another studio that I want to tackle that kind of period. We also got a major update on The Last of Us Part 3 from the voice actor Jeffrey Pierce, who plays Tommy Miller. This article is from Insider Gaming, which I will be paraphrasing, and the article reads, in an interview, Jeffrey Pierce, the voice actor for Tommy Miller, Joel's brother, explained that he's yet to receive a script for The Last of Us Part 3. In an exclusive interview with Dexertos, Jeffrey Pierce said that he hadn't picked up a script from Naughty Dog, nor did he know of any project in the works to create one. He says at this point it's not something that has begun in any fashion, at least not that I know of, and I would have hated to set myself up to have expectations about what it would be and then have it to be something completely different. He did stress that he's fully expecting a script to turn up at his door though. There's a glimmer of hope that we're going to see either a prequel featuring Joel and Tommy earlier exploits in the post-apocalyptic America, or we'll see a continuation of the story post Part 2, which was the illusion at the end of the 2020 title. I would definitely think that The Last of Us Part 3 would definitely have to be a continuation and not a prequel, and Tommy's role in Part 3 is going to be a lot more significant than it was in Part 2. They could easily make this a game about Ellie and Tommy, and in terms of a prequel, I would think that they would cover those Joel and Tommy moments in flashbacks in The Last of Us Part 3. But it's crazy that it's been 3 years since The Last of Us Part 2 and there hasn't been very much work done on The Last of Us Part 3 since then. Well, according to all the rumors anyway. It once again shows how much resources and time has been dedicated towards The Last of Us Online mode, but hopefully they can use a lot of what they worked on into future titles. And according to their statement, they have learned a lot, and hopefully they could implement a good chunk of this into The Last of Us Part 3. We know that in 2021, Neil Druckman wrote the outline for The Last of Us Part 3, so the skeleton of the story is there. It looks like he knows what direction he wants the story to go in, but all of that could change. It's been 2 years since then, and it looks like from everything that there hasn't been any progress in terms of game development in The Last of Us Part 3, so he could make significant changes to that outline. And also now he knows that this is going to affect the HBO show, so maybe he has a completely different vision for The Last of Us Part 3. Also, because the game is so far out, it looks like it won't be coming anytime before 2027, and there's a higher likely chance that this game could be a PlayStation 6 exclusive. That would be a decision that they would have already made at this point, whether The Last of Us Part 6 is a cross-gen between the PS5 and PS6, or if it's just going to be released on PlayStation 6. They could always do the approach of it being a cross-gen title, but then coming out with a director's cut or a remastered version of the game exclusively to the PlayStation 6. Now with The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered Edition, we have a brand new mode called the No Return mode. Now I would definitely expect this to return in The Last of Us Part 3, but for a day one launch, I would think that they would keep this for post-launch content. And depending on how they release the game, whether it's cross-gen or if they just release it on the PlayStation 5 and then do a remastered version for PlayStation 6, then they would probably save a No Return mode for the remastered version or director's cut version of the game. And it definitely seems to me that Neil Druckman is very excited about the new IP that Naughty Dog is working on. Every time he talks about it, he seems way more enthusiastic about it, and it's like he's itching to work on something new. So I'm really excited to see what this game is, and I again think that 2024 we could get the reveal of the title of what this game is, and maybe a CGI trailer. And I think also that this game could actually come before The Last of Us Part 3. I think that they may have been working on this game alongside the online mode, maybe further in development than The Last of Us Part 3, so we may get this sooner. There's also some concept art from a Naughty Dog artist, and it looks like a medieval type of art piece. So a lot of people speculated that Naughty Dog's next game is going to be a medieval based game, but we have no way of confirming this, and I definitely hope that it's true. So let me know what you think the new Naughty Dog IP is going to be. Neil Druckman does seem excited about it, and I hope it's another IP on the caliber of The Last of Us and Uncharted. But that was the mega update of The Last of Us Part 3. I hope to give you more information when new information comes. We cover so much on this channel, including a lot of the PlayStation games, and a lot of the massive titles that are going to be released. We've covered The Last of Us Part 3 a lot on this channel, and I'll leave those videos in the description and comment section below so you can get even more information about The Last of Us Part 3's development. But guys, thanks so much for watching. I am working on a Patreon. It will probably be ready in about a month or two, and that will also have exclusive video. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Peace out, God bless. I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Take care, guys.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks.